It's Rick without the K. James presents In My Opinion Podcast.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Thank you for watching.
Which will lead us to the next question. We talked about the negative, so let's talk about the positive. All right, parents, goddammit. So I'll go first again. I think the positive thing that my mom showed us is her will. And my mom, I think I've said it on the podcast. I think the first time my mom snapped and had to go see somebody for it is because she didn't sleep for like 3 or 4 days. She was working through her case and trying to, her case. She had something going on with the Alameda Coast Guard and was trying to win her case and get all her paperwork in order and all that. And it was just that determination where it's a crazy determination. Like I've seen my mom fucking my mom has bought probably 20 houses in the last 20 years. And
Damn.
Like bought one and sold one and bought another. And right now I think they have like 7 or 8 houses or whatever. But I've seen her come in and do the same thing that I did when I moved into the house that I was at. And all my friends around me were like, man, you're trying to get this house together in a week? Paint, do this, do that, do that. And I was like, yeah. And I had a catering order for 400 burritos that week. And I had my other regular thing that I was doing. So I had all this shit to do. And I know the girl that I was with, or the girl that I'm still with, we were barely together, and she like broke down crying one day because I had hired some dude to come in and help me paint everything. And I said, but I gave him the easiest job. The easiest job is to roll the wall. Right. And that's all. I cut in everything. I patched up everything. I sanded everything. All he was doing was rolling the wall, right? And he'd come, and it was like second or third day, and she's like, you're not giving him any breaks. You're working us all so hard. And I was on, do you understand? Like, I get started 2 hours before everybody gets here. So, because obviously I need to cut in the wall, do everything first, and get all that shit ready. And he leaves, and I'm still here another fucking 6 hours. Yeah. And I was all, so don't give me that shit. And I was all, I already told you when I came here that if you weren't going to help and you're going to cry and you're going to worry about, then please don't help me. I'm going to get this shit done, with or without you. So that determination, man, I'm crazy when I do shit like that, where I just don't have quit in me. I'll keep going. And I think I get that from my mom, definitely from my mom. So, unlike yours who procrastinates, my mom takes it to the other, where she does procrastinate on some shit. So maybe your mom is the same way too, right? But my mom, when she gets going on something, bro, there's sometimes I'm that type where I know I'm like that. So if I'm like, hey, babe, are we going to do, or can I start editing this video? Right. And if she's like, well, you know what? I won't even start editing because I already know once I start and you're telling me it's time for dinner or some shit, I'm going to ignore you. Yeah. Because I'm already working on something and now I got to get the shit done. So for me, that's the positive thing that my mom has given me is that will to just keep fucking going. So, D?
I would say, man, same thing from I got this from both of them. From my mom, it's more of her sense of like she does procrastinate, but she takes care of business, if that makes sense. Like she procrastinates on things that are like, the things she procrastinates on are usually like trivial things. Like I procrastinate on everything. Yeah. Because I got the procrastination, but I didn't get the focus of it. So like, I'm like procrastinate everywhere. She's like, no, just
there's
procrastinate.
An art to this.
Yeah, kind of like if you give a dog a pee pad, like you're just supposed to pee here. Yeah. And I'm procrastinating all over the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm everywhere. Procrastination is all in the corners. But what I also got from her though, on the flip side of that, is I got her heart, because she's a very good person. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She's a very giving person. So everybody knows my mom. Like all my friends, like they think that my mom's their mom. I'm like, no, that's my mom, but
you can borrow her for right now.
You can admire her from afar. Right. But like, so she's that kind of person. And then my passion for food, cooking, just basically taking care of people, man. Like my mom took care of everybody. So I have the same kind of mentality when I go out. Like when I go out with my friends and stuff like that, I'm usually the one like, yo, herding everybody up. Okay, man, let's make sure everybody we came with is here. What happened to Tim? Oh shit, Tim's drunk. Well, somebody picked Tim up,
Yeah.
put Tim in the car. You know,
You're
that's
that dude.
Yeah, I don't leave nobody behind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's always one dude and in those situations, there's always one dude that has to make the decision because he's looking around, scoping the scene. These other motherfuckers ain't doing nothing.
Exactly.
I guess it's on me.
Yeah, like I might not be able to drink as much tonight,
Right.
Because my friends are getting hammered and they don't know like this ain't really. Somebody has to be aware,
Right.
And if that's me, okay, cool.
And so be it.
And even I procrastinate with that though too sometimes. Like I might leave Tim on the ground a while before.
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, but
He ain't bothering nobody.
we're gonna get him, but he's there for a minute.
Is he in the grass or on the sidewalk? He's in the grass. He's cool, man. He's chill.
Let me grab everybody up, Tim. You just hold on. I'll be back for you.
Right back, Tim. Okay. I guess definitely one good thing that I got. I go back to my pops because I tell this story pretty often because it just I feel like it really defines like a turning point in my life. I was like 12 years old and we were in Mexico and we used to go like every summer to go visit. We were in like southern Mexico to go see my dad's family. And out there, you know, and especially in those times, like the town wasn't as developed as it is now. So, and in any third world country, you know, you're gonna come across like casual poverty.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, and it's just part of the deal, you know. So when you like a little American boy and you go out there, because as Mexican as I am, I'm American. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I go out there.
You don't know how American you are until you
get there, right? Yeah,
from another country.
And I had been there a couple of times, so I knew what to expect. So it wasn't like a shock to my senses or anything like that. When you go and you revisit levels of poverty that you don't even imagine in the States, right? You can go to the ghettoest part of any fucked up town in America. They don't look like a third world country. You know what I'm saying? It's like some part, you know, in America, we take it for granted because although there is poverty and there is despair, of course there is, in respectively speaking to, you know, when you compare it to a third world country's despair and poverty, it's not the same ballpark. I mean, you could lie and pretend like it is, but it's not. It's just it's worse.
And the fact that you can
How bad is it though? Because I've never been I've been to Mexico, but like I've been to like tourist Mexico. Like I've never been past Tijuana. We had a rental car. We were scared to go further.
Bro, you talking about, you know, in 2022, like houses still made of stone.
So
houses made of cardboard.
Before we get to your story about your dad, let's paint the picture only because again, I think we're seeing the same picture.
Yeah.
So the viewer as well as D, I want to give the picture because I grew up in a border town.
Yeah.
So when my mom wanted to go visit her tias or whatever across the border, fucking as a kid, I hated that shit, bro.
Right.
I didn't even know I was Mexican until one day we was in Juarez. And I had my window rolled down, and I go, Mom, look at all these Mexicans. And my mom goes, you are one too. Now sit your ass down, right? And I started crying, like, what do you mean I'm Mexican, right?
I'm Nicaraguan. I'm Dominican.
So I say that because I literally didn't know that I was a little brown boy, right? So, and I fucking hated it over there. So you go and you visit, and this is where I want to paint the picture. I'd go and visit aunts and uncles. And we didn't get our groceries from a grocery store when we went over there. We ate chicken. We went and got the chicken, and then motherfuckers and plucked it and made that shit, right? Where was some of the best tasting chicken, right? Because it was fresh. But
And that happens in America, but it's just not as common.
Yeah.
You know?
Outhouses.
My grandmother did that.
Exactly.
No
exactly.
indoor plumbing. The floors
Right.
were regular fucking dirt in some of the houses we went to.
It's like literally dirt.
Like dirt.
Like you just build the walls and then the ceiling, and that's it.
And the floor just
I'm
whatever
pretty
was
sure
down.
when you went to Cancun, it didn't look like this.
Right. They had tiles, I'm certain. I mean, that's the type of stuff. And then the deeper you go, and that's a border town. And typically the border towns are the towns that have access to, you know, more of an affluent lifestyle because just by proxy, because you're right next to America. But the deeper you go into some parts of Mexico, you know, it just gets worse. You know what I mean? And it just gets more and more blatant. Like the poverty gets more blatant.
Now, one question.
Uh-huh.
Now, is when you say the level of poverty, do the people there realize it's poverty, or that's just how they live? Because I know some places like people live like outside. Like I watch a lot of travel stuff on YouTube, and you see people like live, but they're happy
Absolutely.
They don't like, the fact that they don't have an Xbox or electric, they never had it, so it's not really a big deal.
I think it's mixed. I think the older generation is just used to being.
Absolutely. I
mean,
mean,
the younger generation might have access.
I mean, that's my Americanness showing, to call that poverty. And we all know that when you say the word poverty, at least in America, like it has a very negative connotation. It almost comes with like a wink, like, you know what I mean, broke as shit. You know what I mean? Like fucking, like, what are you doing with your life? Like that's the way that's how poverty resonates in our culture, that word. So maybe I'm kind of projecting onto them and like, damn, y'all motherfuckers are so broke, But I'm sure a lot of them were like, well, no, this is just how we live. Like we don't come from having more than this, so it's not for us. We're not doing bad. We have
they
food.
Weren't like moping around like, oh,
no, nobody's moping around. Yeah, nobody.
Like, it's life.
But at times, to get back to my story about my pops, at times though, when you do walk around a town where there is the casual standard of living is so low compared to where you're coming from, it's not a shocker to see people begging in the street. Obviously, I mean that happens here in the States.
Right.
That happens anywhere in the world. But it seems more. It just seems more real when you're surrounded by what you consider to be poverty, and then you see somebody begging in the streets. Here in America, you see somebody begging in the streets, like in downtown San Francisco. You probably don't even think twice about it because you're so caught up in seeing like the affluence of a first world country. You see somebody begging on the streets, you're like, whatever. You just walk right by them, right?
Yeah.
But out there, as a little 12-year-old American boy, I go out there and I see somebody with like tattered clothes, no shoes on, just looking bad, right? And plus I see the surroundings. I'm like, man, this is a fucking war zone. You know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, what have I stepped
20
into?
20 cents a day, you too.
You feel me? With the fucking fly, just fucking 4 flies,
That 20 cents makes sense at that point.
When you consider like what the peso rate was back then. But when we were walking, so we're walking down we're walking to my dad's town, and I'm acting like a little spoiled ass kid because I want to go home, you know what I'm saying? Because like I can only be away from Burger King and Big Five and Walmart for so long, Like I need my fix. I need my American fix.
Those 3 places.
I was thinking the same thing. Did he say Big Five? Did he say? Big Nike outlet or Big Five?
Big Five been going out of business for 20 years, bro. They've been going out of business since I was a kid.
It just won't die.
It just won't die, bro. They become a symbol of persistence. Big Five. So like, where's the Big Five 30 for 30? I want to know Big Five's story. These motherfuckers won't give up. So I'm like, I'm ready to get the fuck up out of there. This is like day 8 of our vacation. And I'm like moping around behind my dad, bro. Ironically that you mentioned moping because everybody was broke in that town, but the only one that was acting like a little bitch was me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm walking around my dad just moping around. I'm like, man, let's go. I'm like getting off that vibe, giving them that vibe. Like, let's go. Come on. I want to go home, Dad. Let's leave early. Mom said we could leave early, this and that. Just acting like a little bitch. And my dad is like 10 feet ahead of me. You a little kid, you just deliberately just stay behind your parents when you're mad and shit. He's like 10, 15 feet ahead of me. And all of a sudden, we're walking down a cobblestone road, headed in the direction back to where our family's house was. And I can't wait to get there so we can get start packing and get the fuck up out of there. And all of a sudden, he's approached by this dude, tattered clothes, just dirty. Just obviously like looking like things are not going well for this person. Tattered clothes, fucked up hair, dirt on his face, like just looking bad. No shoes, no socks. And I noticed that because I was like, I looked, I sized him up, and I'm like, damn, dude's doing bad. He ain't got no shoes on. His feet are all fucked up and everything. And my dad's like 10, 15 feet in front of me. And this guy approaches my dad and he started asking him for money. And my dad, he pulled out some money and he gave it to him. Because out there it's nothing like, $5 goes a long way out there once you give it to him in pesos. So it was nothing. And plus, if you're a Mexican person, you leave Mexico, you come back, like you already know what time it is. You're not going to go back there arrogant unless you're a real piece of shit.
Right.
You're not going to go back to your hometown and be like, don't ask me for shit. Like, y'all know I'm from fucking Oakland. Don't be asking me no shit. All right. I got a fucking city job. I'm good.
Town business.
Yeah, right. So you go with already that mentality, like, all right, I'm going to help whenever I can. So I wasn't shocked to see him give him some money. And I wasn't shocked to see him stand there and talk to him for a little bit. But what did start to become a little, different was he was really talking to the guy, right? And he was really like having a conversation with him. And this is unlike my dad to begin with, but I could see that he's engaging with them deeply. And I got a little bit closer because now it's like piqued my curiosity. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, he gave him the money. I thought the exchange was over. I thought we were leaving. So I got close enough to get within earshot. And I heard my dad ask him. He was like, you don't have any shoes? And the guy was like, no. And then my dad said, you think you could buy some? And the guy was like, well, I don't have any money. And then the guy started like, I think in that moment, it was just humanity just kind of creeped out. And he was just like, basically, he felt bad that he was confessing that he couldn't even buy shoes, that he couldn't do shit, right? And so he started quivering, like his lips started quivering. You could tell that he was holding back the tears. So in that moment, I'll never forget, bro, my dad took his shoes off. He had some black feelers on, all black. And he untied them and he fucking picked them up. He even like fixed the strings and tucked them back into the shoes, right? And he handed them to the dude. And he gave it to him, and the dude gave him a big ass hug, and he put him on, and he walked away. And blood, I always feel like such a fucking piece of shit. Even telling this story now, it moves me to tears almost, because the lesson that I learned that day was like, what type of fucking person doesn't take the time, you know what I'm saying, to like have the empathy to sit there and look at somebody who's clearly doing worse than you, clearly. And to see my dad take his shoes off and give it to the man, bro, that shift my entire viewpoint on shit, because it made me realize like the world don't revolve around you, dog. It don't.
Wouldn't it be funny if your pops did that on purpose for you to think that?
Bro, that would be the most complicated.
Like,
like if you went in his closet to get something and black feelers was in there because he got it back.
He got 20 boxes of black feelers. Yeah. I'd be like, hey man, you just passing these out, man? What the fuck? Dude, like, bro, we had to teach you a lesson, man. But that moment taught me taught me about empathy, and it made me think about how you need to consider what's going on around you, because the world don't fucking revolve around you, you little fat fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you thinking about Whoppers and shit.
Big Five.
And this motherfucker's out here begging for fucking coins. You know what I mean?
Well,
and it's
I tell you, if they were feelers, you got them at Big Five.
Right. That's why, you know where we went shopping for back to school? I had them clearance feelers.
Big Five, Copeland.
Copeland's, baby. Woo! Bro, I'm telling you, man, those are the spots, man.
But you know that dude in that tattered clothing, man, he was going out to the club that night.
Bro, he was stunning with the feelers? Get out of here, bro. The whole town was looking at him like, oh, this motherfucker think he better than us now. Still ain't got no socks.
They probably call him Fila now. Like Fila Felipe.
Hey, real talk
Fila
though.
Felipe.
They probably do, man. My dad probably christened that dude in that moment, man. So yeah, so shout out to my pops, man, for maintaining his integrity, even though his little fat ass son was behind him all mad and shit.
That's a dope story though.
Yeah, man.
That's really, it pops like a good dude,
bro. Yeah, and it's like, and he said nothing to me. He said nothing to me, and just kept walking down a cobblestone. I'll never forget that image, watching my dad with no shoes on, walking down a cobblestone road for like a good mile. And what am I gonna say? Like, I'm so shamed in that moment because I'm young enough to act like a little bitch.
Right.
But I'm old enough to understand the lesson that just happened and unfolded in front of my face. So I'm conflicted in that moment. But I can't approach my dad because I'm too ashamed of myself. But I can't deny the fact that I just learned something and then I need to stop acting like a bitch. All the time. I tell my dad. I tell my dad that story all the time.
He's probably like, "Yep, that's exactly why I did it."
He just right? Nah, he just kind of, he was like, hey, he's like, well, he was like, I was in my hometown and it's like somebody needed help and I know what that's like. I know what that world is like.
Yeah.
And he was like, and when you leave that world and you come here and it's so easy. And he'll tell me this, and this is uncommon for him because he usually doesn't go into diatribes. But when I bring this story up, though, to some extent, he'll always say, I know what it's like to be in that situation. I know what it's like to lose everything and have nothing. And I also know what it's like to go get everything that you ever wanted. And when you come back, you can't forget that you were just like them before you left. And that's just like,
that's dope.
Enough said, that's usually a mic drop moment whenever he says his part. Yeah.
Now I have to ask this only because you did share a negative thing about your mom.
Right.
Do you have a positive story about your mom?
Man, my mom is just with my mom is more obvious. My mom is like the sun. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take a whole day to recognize what she brings to the table. She brings like power. She brings force.
Sounds to me like
she
you're
brings
more
will.
like your mom.
Yeah, for
right?
sure, for sure.
Like
I mean,
she must be outgoing.
our natures
and
our natures are way more alike, you know. But for sure, but with that, it's like the sun is undeniable. So my mom's whole philosophy through life has been be undeniable.
Right.
Be undeniable. Whatever you want to do, put all the motherfucking kilos on it. You know what I'm saying? Like lean into that shit. Don't do nothing halfway. And the biggest thing my mom ever taught me was that in life, you can't get shit accomplished with fear in your heart. Don't ever be scared. Because fear is the biggest detractor of all success, of all accomplishment. It's the greatest discourager of people who ascend to greatness. It's the thing that holds them back and kills them is fear. So once you release that, the world is yours. At least, you know, that's the way she made me feel.
Man, I hate both of you guys because it sounds to me like you got good moms.
Your childhood
So fuck
sucked,
you guys. Thanks for making me feel like shit.
Hey man, Rick James. That's the one you think. The comedian Rick James. Get up.
I can't hear my neighbor crying, I can't breathe.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Thank you for watching.